Lots of criminals have been sent to prison for a long time, and out of that, some of the most high-profile criminals face the most severe and most extended prison sentences, or even life sentences. However, for some of these criminals, serving a life sentence is the last thing on their minds. Here are some of the prisoners who escaped their life sentences. Yoshi Shiratori. Yoshi Shiratori is known best for escaping from prison 4 times in 3 years. After being charged with murder and robbery, he was sentenced to life with 23 years of imprisonment. Shiratori escaped from Aomori prison in the year 1936. He was later recaptured and sent to Akita prison in 1942, where Yoshi managed to escape by somehow climbing the impossible smooth walls of his cell to reach the air vent. In 1944, he rusted his handcuffs and an inspection hole with miso soup before escaping from Abashiri prison. Abashiri was no regular penal colony. It was reserved for the worst kinds of criminals in Japan. The Abashiri Prison Museum has a figure dedicated to Yoshi, showing how he escaped the prisoner in nothing but his underwear. He got out of his cell by dislocating his shoulder and squeezing out of the small space on the metal frame, which is used to slide in food. He was caught again in 1946. The Sapporo District Court sentenced him to death, which made Shiratori more desperate to find a way to escape, and in 1947 he dug a tunnel and escaped for the 4th time. In 1948 he was recaptured after he admitted to the police. His death sentence was revoked, and he eventually served 26 years before being paroled in 1961. Richard Lee McNair. McNair was raised by a police officer and was a high IQ man. Unfortunately, in 1987, he earned himself 2 life sentences and an additional 30 years for burglary at North Dakota State Penitentiary. McNair made his first escape attempt through a ventilation pipe in 1992, but was recaptured a year later. However, his attempt to escape from a maximum security federal prison in Louisiana in April 2006 earned him a name in history. McNair's job in the prison was to repair torn mailbags. He built a makeshift escape pod using some of the materials around him and fitted a breathing tube in it. He hid inside a mailbag on a forklift, and he knew exactly that the pile was due to be taken to a warehouse outside the prison. He waited for the perfect opportunity and made a run for it. He was later stopped while jogging by a police officer beside the railroad tracks, and McNair managed to convince the cop that he was not the person they were looking for, despite not having any identification. Joaquin Guzman. Better known by his other name El Chapo. El Chapo is the founder of the Sinaloa cartel and one of the most terrifying drug lords on the planet. El Chapo was first captured in 1993 and sent to Puente Grande prison. Even after being behind bars in a maximum security facility, he kept on managing his drug operations with complete ease. It was clear that his connection was vast, and the threat of a cartel retaliation was enough to scare many guards into compliance. In 2001, El Chapo's men bribed a prison guard to let him out of his cell and help him escape in a laundry cart. Then he was wheeled to the parking lot from where he got into the trunk of a car and escaped, but his greatest escape was yet to come. After being sent to Altiplano Federal Prison in February 2014, El Chapo simply vanished from his cell in July. Security footage showed him pacing his cell and then just vanishing. Authorities discovered a 2-foot square hole beneath one of the showers, which led into a secret tunnel that the cartel had been digging for months. This tunnel led to a cinder block house located outside of the prison from where El Chapo made his escape. Richard Matt and David Sweat. David Sweat began serving a life sentence in 2002, whereas Richard Matt received 25 years to life in prison in 2008. They met each other at a shared workstation at Clinton Correctional Facility and planned their escape. The first step of their escape was bribing a correctional officer named Gene Palmer, and another named Joyce Mitchell fell in love with them. The 2 officers ended up bringing them small tools like a hacksaw, chisels, and lights wrapped in hamburger meat. With the help of these tools, both of them spent months digging holes in their cells. By February, they had methodically cut through the steel wall of their cell and continued carving. Then they made their way down 4 stories and broke into a steam pipe, which led to a manhole just outside the prison walls. Officials confirmed that Sweat was doing most of the work and had cut through the pipes after various nights of work. Pascal Payet. This escape made by Pascal Payet feels straight out of a movie. Pascal Payet was a French criminal who was sentenced to 30 years in prison for a murder committed during the robbery of a security van in 1997. In 2001, he escaped Luna's prison after his colleague or friend on the outside got hold of a helicopter, flew it to the prison roof, and broke him out. 2 years later, Payet managed to break 3 more prisoners using the same strategy. Eventually, he got caught, and this time the authorities decided to move him to different prisons every 3 months. Later in 2007, Paillet escaped a second time using a helicopter. During the Bastille Day celebration, Paillet's man on the outside hijacked a helicopter and took the pilot hostage, and they broke Paillet yet again. Although Paillet was captured a few months later, he still holds the record for the most number of prison escapes by helicopter. There are more than 10 million prisoners in the world and 600,000 escape attempts each year. Not all of them have been successful, but some of the spectacular escapes left the world in complete disbelief. Alright guys, that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more videos just like this. See you guys next time.